A guy was telling me that he was ready to set up his retirement account. He's ready to already get going and take action. Action, by the way, is, people that take action, whether it's good action or bad action, people that just move and instead of waiting to do things are the ones that see success happen, right? So, like I said, one guy, he's talking about setting up his retirement. Another guy next to me, he's like, look, you got the wheels turning. I have so many things that are going through my head right now. He joined our mastermind group. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And he's ready to move forward. So if one thing I got is that a lot of people got a lot of value in education, which I was pretty sure people would get it, and they did. And now people are actually trying to move and take action. That is like the biggest thing, right? So if even one person sets up a retirement account because of this summit, if one person sets up a self-directed IRA because of this account, if one person starts investing passively in real estate and they wouldn't have otherwise, then the summit was absolutely a great success. The summit was an absolute great success because of just the networking component, the quality of attendees was off the chain. A lot of the people that are probably on this Facebook Live right now, I mean, if anybody that's watching this right now was at the summit, drop a fire emoji if you got any value from that, from our event. In today's live, I'm going to kind of go through the sessions a little bit, break down what we learned, key takeaways, and we're going to talk about our mastermind group. It's called the Walk of Wealth Community, Walk of Wealth Community Mastermind Group. And this is for people that are really trying to take their personal growth. They're trying to take their investing to a whole new level. These are for people that are beginners or even advanced, but they're trying to learn a lot of things, get exposed to different investment categories, not just multifamily. I mean, we've become a very robust capital firm where we have the ability to get a lot of different types of deals, whether it's build to rent, whether it's self-storage, whether it's RV parks, marinas, even other asset classes outside the realms of real estate, oil and gas. We actually had an expert on oil and gas, Courtney Muller, who actually spoke at the summit also. A lot of people, so many people were interested about, hey, I was always taught that you can't save money on W-2 taxes. Well, guess what? You were said wrong. Thank you, Dr. Balin, for the fire emojis, dropping the emojis. So he got a lot of value. And he's a really high-level entrepreneur, right? So he was there hanging out. He probably learned a lot, and he taught a lot of people a lot. So let's look at key takeaways. My session, I spoke about Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. I talked about Kiyosaki's balance sheets, but from the perspective of a dentist, right? So I changed it up a little bit. And I talked about, hey, look, all of us dentists, we go through dental school. We all do the same dental school. We all do the same boards. I mean, we go to different dental school, but it's the same curriculum, right? And we all do the same boards. But yet, the way that we generate cash flow from our profession varies very widely, right? We might have, and dentists can be any of these different parts of the quadrant, even though we all have the same training. So what that tells us is that how we invest and how we derive cash flow comes down to who we are at the core, right? Our core values, our strengths, our weaknesses, and our interests is what will attract us to some quadrants while repelling us away from other quadrants, right? So we spoke about that. We spoke about, the different quadrants, and E is the employee, right? On the top left of the quadrant is the employee dentist, the one that works for somebody, the one that generates income from being an employee. The S is somebody that works for themselves, a self-employed person, right? That maybe they own their own job. That's called owning your own job, where you're the solo practitioner. You have a front desk, you have a hygienist. You own your own job. You work for yourself, but these are all time involved. And then we talked about the other side of the quadrant, which is the freedom side, right? That's the rich dad side. And that's the business owners on the top right quadrant, the B. And these are guys that have built a system that pays them. right? So you're usually leveraging other people to make money. And the example I used was a dentist that has 8 dentists working for him, right? So now they are great at hiring and they're great at building systems. And then the I, the investor, is the part where your money makes money for you. And this is where we decided that this is where dentists most lack, because it doesn't matter whether you're an employee, doesn't matter if you're self-employed, it doesn't matter if you're a business owner. The one quadrant in the bottom right, which is the I, is something all three, no matter where you are in the cash flow quadrant, we all can sharpen our skills to become a better I or an investor. And that's what our summit was about. And it's interesting to know that that quadrant in I is where cash flow is converted to wealth, right? So if we don't put any intentionality, we don't try to focus on the I piece of it, then we're going to have a lot of trouble to become wealthy. So that was what the whole premise of our summit was. I kind of laid that out with the speech, like, hey, look, this is what we got to kind of do, right? And then we talked about the balance sheets of the rich and the middle class. And the vast majority of dentists have no matter how much they make, they have balance sheets that looks very much like a middle class person, even though they make a high income. And then we compared and contrasted to the balance sheets of a really wealthy person. And majority of dentists don't have that. So I'm like, hey, look, in the context of this entire summit, we want to think about how can we make balance sheets that's more like how wealthy people build it, right? So that's something from a lot of people that takes a mindset shift. And that's what I was hoping that this summit would do, is for people to realize and see things from a different perspective from what they were maybe indoctrinated by Wall Street or their financial advisors. Now, from there, I was followed by Zach Haptonstall, which is Rise 48. He's the sponsor. He's the founder of Rise 48. Rise 48, for those who don't know, is a multifamily real estate firm that has $2.2 billion of multifamily assets under management, right? So they control $2 billion of multifamily real estate. So an absolute expert in the game. We've actually, a Walk of Wealth Capital, our investment firm, has done deals with them. They've gone through our extensive due diligence process, especially at the sponsor level. And so, we've done background checks, we've done references, we know people that we've invested personally in these deals. So it was a great sponsor, somebody that really wants to help people learn, explains the concepts very well spoken. And so it was a no-brainer to bring him as a speaker. He added a lot of value. It helped a lot of doctors that were seeing this stuff for the first time, how it actually works, right? How investing in a passive deal, how it generates income, how it generates returns for a doctor, and as well, what exactly is passive investment, right? Like, what is the doctor's involvement in the investment? So that was, I thought he gave tremendous insight. And I want to add one more thing about that. Now, people automatically say, hey, look, now I want to partner on with Rise 48. I like the way he talked. If Walk of Wealth, they vetted him, they must be really good to go. Now I can know that I'll just go and invest in their deals. So there's a caveat to that. Just because we vetted Rise 48 doesn't mean that every single deal is a go, right? And let me clarify this. Now, even I'm good friends with Zach. Zach is a good friend of mine as well as a business partner. He was also a sponsor at our event, but that doesn't make me beholden to doing deals with him, right? The deals itself still have to make sense. Even if they check all the boxes as a sponsor and operator, like, hey, look, these guys have excellent track record. They've got all the things that we look for in a great sponsor. That doesn't mean we blindly go and invest in any one of their deals, right? That's not what I'm trying to tell people that they should do. And a couple of people asked me about that. Hey, look, Rise has a deal coming up. Now, even me as a fund manager, my group of fund managers, Connected Capital, we've all excited about Rise 48 as a sponsor. And one of probably 3 deals ago, we partnered with them. In fact, people from our group has invested in these deals. But the very next deal they brought, hey, Zach was like, hey, look, let's do this deal. Let's just keep it moving. We finished this deal. Let's do the next deal. But we started underwriting that deal. We started looking at their assumptions. We're looking at what they thought is going to happen in the next 4 years, right? They see aggressive rent increases. We haven't seen aggressive rent increases in Dallas. In fact, Dallas rent went down 1% last year, right? So for them to say, hey, it's going to rise by 3 or 4% every year after that, we thought was quite aggressive. We didn't agree with a few of their other basic assumptions, and we had to very kindly and very respectfully tell them that, hey, look, we're not going to move forward with this deal, right? As a group of fund managers, we love you. We love you as a sponsor, but this particular deal, we see some challenges and some issues with it, and so we're going to pass, right? So I want you to take that grain of salt. I don't want you to just say, hey, now it's carte blanche. Anybody that I saw on the stage, Dr. Jonny, or thinks highly of him, that automatically means he's vetted. I don't want you to ever approach investing like that, right? You're only as good as your last deal, right? Like, as far as I say. So, the importance of due diligence and continued vigilance is something to always keep in mind. Next speaker after that, I believe, was Dr. Simon, right? And Dr. Simon Balin, he spoke at our Prosperous Dentist Summit, which was a virtual summit this past February. He's a guy that I trust, I like a lot. He's a fellow endodontist that's now kind of retired from endodontics and is now doing development. Again, tremendous insight into how it works, ground up development, how he goes from taking a piece of land, getting entitlements, all the process that goes on before before a shovel ever hits the ground and people start developing. There's a whole bunch of work that needs to be done at the beginning. So he broke down that part of it. He broke down after they actually start building. He talked about the timelines where investors start making money and all those things. So if anybody was interested in learning about development, Simon Balin showed how much of an expert he is, how knowledgeable he is. And he's a guy that I go for knowledge too when it comes into that area. So, great job by him. From there, we went into, there was the IRA Club. Dennis Blitz, the president of the IRA Club, came. He talked about self-directed IRAs. He talked about the problems with 401ks and traditional, IRAs and SEP IRAs and a lot of the limitations of it, right? Because you can only invest in things like stocks. You can't invest in anything else. Whereas you can take a different type of retirement account and go into a self-directed one, right? And now all of a sudden with a self-directed IRA, you can invest in all kinds of different things. A whole world of opportunity of private offerings and investments opens up that you can take advantage of with your retirement account. Another really awesome tip that I got, which is a really good trick, is if you invest in things like debt, right? Debt structure. Hey, Dr. Sakon's in the house. Oh yeah, okay. So he gave kudos to he gave props to Dr. Balin. Awesome, good job, man. So one of the big tricks that I saw is, and I learned about, is investing in debt, right? When you invest in debt automatically it counts as active income, right? So you get a big return and you might get cash flow starting in month one right away. But the caveat is that it is taxed, right? It's heavily taxed. It's ordinary income. And so this is not great for somebody who's a high income earner, right? Because they're already in the highest tax bracket. This only increases their income. End of the day, you're still making money. So if you're paying taxes on profits, okay, so be it. But the great sort of trick that I saw was when you use the retirement account. That's a great source of funds to use for debt. Why? Because the money flows from the debt into your retirement account where it's tax-free, right? So that's a great place to use. I thought that was a great thing, right? Because that's a great source of funds for investments in debt, because since the retirement account, it's tax advantaged, right? So rather than using your savings to invest in debt products, a great trick or method of saving money on taxes is using your retirement accounts to invest in debt. Once you do that, then the profits from the cash flows goes directly into your retirement account, tax free. I thought that was a great hack. Again, we were giving away, people that joined our mastermind group, we were giving away free membership for the first year for IRA Club. Followed by that, we had lunch. And then right after that was Madhvi. Madhvi is the founder of Connected Capital, which is a group of fund managers. She's also the president of a company called Think Outside the Stocks. I love that title. And, instead of Think Outside the Box, it's Think Outside the Stocks. Hey, Simon, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for saying that I'm the man. I know everybody's saying Simon is the man, which I 100% agree, but I got one guy that says I'm the man, which is Simon. Thanks, brother. I'm glad that you and Glenn put together on another level, and our event was on another level. Thank you so much. I agree with that. So Madhvi is a great, very good friend of mine, somebody I learned a lot from. And she talked about this infinite banking. This is something I personally was looking forward to learning a lot about. I had term life insurance, and I have whole life insurance. That's what I used to have. I had $1 million whole life policy, and I had about $5 million in term. Now, as I kept and the whole life policy is a lot more expensive, right? You have to put a lot more money in every month. So I was like, why am I doing this? Because I can get a lot better returns in real estate investing this myself. Why am I keeping my money tied up in this life insurance account? Well, I learned, and a lot of smart people that I know have life insurance policies, right? Much to my chagrin, as I moved on and I've leveled up in my group of peers, a lot of my really smart peers that are really invest a lot, so you don't have the whole life? You got rid of your whole life insurance policy? They said, this is basically what their sentiment was. Oh, man. Yes. So that is how I felt now, right? Because the way that you got to look at it is that a retirement, this is how it was explained to me. These life insurance policies shouldn't be looked at as an investment. It should be looked at as a savings vehicle, right? It's a savings account. And so you're not really looking for the returns. By the way, there is a guaranteed return. And in the world of investing, we're not supposed to ever say guaranteed. But this is a guaranteed return with over 150 years of track record, right? So a lot of these companies have given a guaranteed return to investors for 150 years without ever missing a payment. That means it doesn't matter how many booms and busts, World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, Korea War, Gulf War, Kuwait War, 2008 Great Financial Recession, 1999 dot-com bubble, COVID-19. It doesn't matter. Any of those things, they still pay out. So there is a guaranteed return. So there's one thing. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but at least your money's growing. Now, the trick was that in these life insurance policies, you can actually borrow the money, right? You can take money out of the life insurance policy before your death, and you can lend it to yourself, right? And by lending it to yourself, now you can use that life insurance money to go and invest in whatever you want. You can even use it to go and do consumer spending. But there's a lot of different ways that you can use it and leverage that money and pay yourself back, right? I'm not really doing any justice in explaining it. We're going to have another session with Madhvi to set up life insurance policies for people that are interested. We're going to definitely do it ASAP in our mastermind group. She's going to come in, work with the people, and get people set up for people that are interested in doing this. So that was really, really powerful. Something I'm going to be taking action items on myself, and I'm excited to do that. Who came after Madvi? Then Bryce went up. Bryce Robertson was the Australian guy. He was the guy with the big gray beard, and he wore the hat with a feather in it. That guy's one of my favorite people of all time, right? His name is Dividends, baby. Yeah, for what? Dividends from what? Dr. T. Will. You're talking about from life insurance? That was the dividends, and of course the tax breaks, right? Because all this money you're making is tax free because it goes back into your retirement accounts. So yeah, I don't want to even try to do the justice to the life insurance thing. We're just gonna have the experts come and talk about it instead. We talk about mobile home parks. Bryce talked about mobile home parks. They have amassed $115 million of mobile home parks. He gave some valuable insight in comparing it and contrasting it to multifamily, right? So I thought that was good because it just kind of helps to distinguish one asset class from another. That sort of leads into our discussion on our panel. And I asked the panel this. I'm like, look, all these doctors are getting all this information, right? We got mobile home parks. We got oil and gas. We got self-storage. We got apartment buildings. Now, doctors are learning about all these different asset classes. Each speaker is coming up and saying how each one of them is the best asset class to invest in, right? So it's like, how do we decide now what should we invest in? Hey, Dr. Brian Craven said every speaker was knocking it out of the park. I agree with that, 100%. You see, the quality of the speakers we put in the lineup, I thought was incredible. These are people that I hold near and dear. I've either done business with them. I know them really well. I trust them or admire them. And I like them as people, right? All the people that were at that meeting were people I felt really strongly about, I learned about. And that's why I needed to share. I wanted to share this with our group. And, so now we brought them all into one room, brought all these doctors into one room, and the magic happened, right? So that's why everyone says it's good. Okay, so Dr. T. Will says, yes, I wrote my first life insurance policy on myself, 2003, whole life. I've been a life agent since 1994. Incredible. We should bring you on and get some of your insight too, as well, Dr. T. Will, because I wish I never got rid of my policy, right? Instead of getting a whole bunch of what I learned is useless term policies, I have a bunch of useless term policies, and now at a much older age, I'm gonna go and start my life insurance. But it is what it is. Oil and gas. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about from the meeting is oil and gas. A lot of people wanted to know about this and wanted to know if it was actually true. Is it actually possible to write off W-2 income? Everybody will tell you no. Your accountant will tell you no. Your financial advisor says, hey, there's nothing much you can do. You just got to pay the taxes. And I call, where's the bullshit sound? No, it's not that one. No. I need a bullshit sound. Oh! This is what I think of the guys that told me that you can't save money on W-2 taxes. You said what? Oh! Okay, maybe, I don't know. So the truth is that yes, 100% there are ways to cut back your W-2 income taxes legally. And we had an oil and gas expert, Courtney Muller, come up and talk about on the stage about that. And just coincidentally, we are launching an oil and gas fund very soon. And so people are going to have the ability to now invest in these type of deals and save money on W-2 taxes. So definitely stay tuned to that. We're going to be opening it up to our mastermind group members first. All investments are going to go to our mastermind group members first. Now, the last thing I want to talk about the summit was the mastermind community itself. We unveiled our mastermind community that we launched, myself and Dr. Glenn Vo, at the summit. And this is a special community for people, we want to bring people, we're always trying to take it to the next level, right? So this in-person event, and the next level up is the mastermind group. To me, this is the zenith. This is the top level. And the reason I wanted to create the mastermind, number one, to bring all these speakers, bring all these great doctors that I work with as investors, bring them all together so that they can get the power of network, right? We talked about Napoleon Hill in 1930. He wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, and he was talking about mastermind groups. The most successful people in the country around that time would get together, talk about what was working, how they were making money, their business strategies, as well as what problems or challenges they were facing in their business, in their personal lives. And when you can bring these type of problems, these type of issues, and put it in front of a group that you trust, that is knowledgeable, that is really high level, that's the magic and the power of it, right? You get perspectives, you get things from other people, strategies, things you might have not ever thought of yourself, right? With a mastermind group, it helps to create accountability for you moving towards your own goals. Sometimes we're leaders in our community. We own our own offices. We're expected to provide leadership for everybody else. But who is making us accountable so that we're moving to always increasing our knowledge? We're also always increasing and progressing in our success and our skills. Having some accountability can greatly increase the how fast you reach that desired outcome, right? So accountability is another reason that we started this mastermind, to give people that want to succeed faster, people that want to learn more, people that want to compress time, right? So now we're going to do these sessions with the life insurance. You might be thinking about, hey, this whole life thing sounds good. I might get to it. I just got to find somebody, and then I'm going to figure it out. But no, within the mastermind group, we're going to be in a session. There's going to be a group of people that are interested in moving forward. You're going to have an expert coach there, and they're going to personally guide you through your own situation, right? Same thing with the IRA. Hey, the ST IRA, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I might look into that. Well, no, here, look, we're going to do a session about it. We're going to have the president of the IRA club there, so you can hold their hands and ask all the minutia questions and get your IRA account set up, and also get it set up first year membership free, right? So that's another thing. Like, imagine within the first couple months of joining this mastermind, you get your self-directed IRA set up, you get your life insurance policy set up, and you get access to a couple of deals. You invested in a couple of deals. Boom, you started moving rapidly, doing things that wealthy people do and moving towards financial freedom, right? So that's what I mean by compressing time. And then the last thing I want to add about on the network side of these mastermind groups is adding specialists into your Rolodex, right? Into your contact links. Adding specialists in multifamily, adding a specialist in tax planning, adding a specialist in X, Y, and Z, adding a specialist in retirement accounts. Now these are people that you can reach out to, you can talk to, you have access to experts that you can easily find information and get it directly from the horse, rather than trying to go find a YouTube video or Google it and verify if the information is good or not. You get past all of that, right? So that was a very powerful part of the mastermind group. We put together an incredible group of people. And what we did was we only opened up the group to 15 people, right? Because it's a pilot program and we want to do a special founder's price. And we did a absolutely nominal price. In my opinion, it was priced way too low. Nifty Thrifty God himself, Dr. Vo, gave a Nifty Thrifty code and key access to get into our mastermind at a very nominal price. Those people are grandfathered in for life at this low fee, and I'm excited for them. For people that are interested in joining our mastermind community, we're going to open up spots again. I don't know when, but we will open soon. The price is going to be a little bit higher, and again, it'll be the lowest that it'll ever be again. So stay tuned for, I think very soon we might open up a few more spots before we actually get their sessions going. The sessions are going to include modules, right? Recorded modules on how exactly we do due diligence, right? So you can learn from experts about professional level of due diligence on markets, asset class, on sponsors, what questions you should be asking that you never thought to ask, due diligence on the business plan, on the debt structure, and multiple other things. So we're going to have a modules set up that people can access at their own time and get caught up very quickly. So if you're just getting started, it's going to be like an intro level type of thing so that people can, everybody can get onto the same page as fast. Oh, and I see Elisa has joined in here. Dr. Elisa joined the mastermind group. She's a really high level person. So she's in the watching the live right now, and I'm excited to learn from her too. Right, she's doing some pretty big and interesting and amazing things on the dental side. And what's a better place for her to come and network with a bunch of other high level dentists? Right, we have doctors that own. There's one doctor in our group that owns 17 practices. Yeah, 17. So this doctor here is building a 20,000 square foot practice, and it's like, hey, look, I want to just pick the brain and get some insight. Is this a good place to do it? I'm like, absolutely. So the place where that net magic happens on the network side is that we're going to have bi-weekly Zoom calls, right? So you're going to, the first week of every month, we're going to have a coach, a different type of speaker in a different area. They're going to be presenting. And then the third week of every month, we're going to have office hours, right? So Q&A, and the coaches, different coaches will be there. Myself, I'll be there sometimes. There'll be different coaches. And this is the place where you can bring all your personal questions, right? Whether it's about setting up a retirement account, whether it's about an investment, maybe it's another investment you're considering, and you can bring it to your group. This is your community that you can bounce ideas off of. And the same thing with deals, right? Even if you have personal issues going on in your practice, hey, how would you deal with this issue or the business? This is a great place to bring it to, right? You got really smart people, high-level thinkers, people that are in the game, in the industry. This is your community to work with. That's right, Simon. She also, this is also part of the mastermind. Dr. Elisa, she's interested in developing her own practice. And one of our coaches, Dr. Simon Balin, happens to be a developer. Now, we had a VIP dinner right after the event where we invited the coaches and the new mastermind members to join. And at that dinner, a conversation started, multiple conversations. In fact, after dinner was over, the restaurant had to kick us out because people stayed there and talked to each other until closing, right? That was where the magic was happening. And the magic already happened because Dr. Lisa met a developer. She was looking to develop, one of our coaches, a developer, boom, right? Shortcut, hacks. These are the shortcuts, hacks that you can succeed faster, right? The power of the network is there. So the education part, we talked about the modules. This alone right here should be like, hey, look, I want to join this mastermind group right now based on what you've told me. But that's not it, right? What I think is the most valuable part of this mastermind is the access to these institutional quality deals, right? We now are at a point that we have incredible pipeline of deal flows, right? So we see a ton of deals. And also my group has the ability to do more thorough due diligence than anybody else in the industry, hands down. Nobody can have access to resources, access to robust due diligence that we do, right? And I'm open to stand anybody's challenge on that. So we are, because of that, we have the ability to get a lot of deals and cherry pick the ones that have passed a very rigorous test and high degree level of scrutiny so that we can greatly increase the predictability of these investments, vet them, de-risk them, and ultimately diversify, because now we can invest with multiple different asset classes. Very, very professionally, we can invest in different asset classes We can invest with different sponsors in different different geographic regions. This is true diversity when it comes to passive investing. You're not dependent on one deal. You're not dependent on one operator. You're not dependent on one market, right? To me, I don't know of a more foolproof way to invest passively and greatly expand your portfolio. So now in our mastermind group, these deals that become cherry picked, our mastermind members are going to have first access to these deals, right? They're going to get the right of first refusal. And a lot of our best deals, the ones with the highest degree of potential, are going to be taken up by mastermind members, right? They're not even going to make it out into the general group. Of course, that's not going to be true of every single deal, but some of the deals where we have limited allocation to my fund and we can only take a certain amount of capital, those investors, the people in our mastermind group members will get that first. So anybody that's watching this live, if they were at the event, I want you to drop a fire emoji, right? If you haven't already. I see a couple of people already have. And regarding the mastermind group, if you're interested in our mastermind community, also drop a 100 emoji, right? The 100 emoji. And we're gonna see what we can do for you guys, right? We can't get you in at the founder's price, but we're gonna try to work with you because we want to get like-minded people into our group. So that's kind of all I have for today. I only wanted to go for 20 minutes. I've already gone for 40 minutes. We got excellent feedback in our group. Brian, thank you for being there. Dr. Craven, he's one of our mastermind members. Him and his wife were there. He's also a big investor. And I have to say, Brian has come a long way. I mean, Brian just learned about, he just learned about this world of passive investing not too long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. But he's a guy that's taken bull by the storm. He's a guy that takes action. Now he's invested in multiple deals. He's getting passive income from multiple streams of income. I'm hoping he's going to set up these. He's learned about these retirement accounts. He's in, these. Brian, reach out to Dr. Brian Craven. Ask him his experience. Right? He's been in our group for a long time. He's been Walk of Wealth. He's been an investor. He's been part of our Facebook group for a long time. He came to the conference. He knows what this investment about, and he also joined the mastermind. Right. So this shows that, he's obviously getting value and he's been around for a long time. Talk to Simon Balin. Thanks for the fire emoji. He's one of our great trusted coaches. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. We will be back again next week live. I want to once again give a shout out to everybody that was at our event, to everybody that wanted to be at our event. Next year is going to be even bigger. We're not going to stop. This has only made us strengthen our resolve that there's a demand for this. We're creating impact. We want to help people. And I believe that us doing this together collectively as a group, I think that's the most powerful way to do it. Right? All right, guys. Again, until next week, I'm Dr. Jonny Walker, aka Jonathan Withananchi. To quote the late and great Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other.